Good morning. Do we have audio? Check in here, check in here. Yep, we do. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning to everybody in the chat room. Deidre, Marcy. Geez, it's early. It is early. That is correct, Marcy. I'm not going to ring the bell because I don't want to wake anybody else up. I don't even know if the judges are here. So, guys, if you are here, let's hold off on this. Although this is a fact check, we will be looking at the end of the Maria Bartiromo interview with the former guy. The guy who used to have a blog. What is his name? I don't know. Anyway, I forget now. We will be looking at that. We looked at the first half of it last night. I don't know if it was half, probably the majority of it last night. And I said, I'll come back tomorrow. We'll do some spilling Covfefe. Give me one moment, please. I promised a few days ago that I was going to share, it was a week ago, that I was going to share the birthday tradition of what my family does. They send a birthday card every year. My father does, with a check inside. And if you're 13 years old, first off, in my family, they wouldn't be sending you a birthday card because you'd be living at home. You're 13. Let's say you're 27 years old. I was 27. I turned 27 back in, I think it was 1907. They send you a card and you would get a check for $27. So I'm expecting a check for $52. So let's see if my father has carried on that tradition. Good morning, Jane. Jane says, I worked with Maria when she was the money honey on CNBC. I'm appalled at what has happened to her. Was she always like that? No, she was not. She used to be reputable. And at some point, as her career was sort of taking off, she just veered right. I don't know if there was a car accident with a head injury involved. Morning, Phil. But that's what happened. So I mentioned this last night, this birthday card, and then I neglected to do it at the end of the broadcast. So I'm gonna tease, and then I'll forget all about it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put it right here. So I just repeatedly look at it. So maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it right now. I don't know. This is Spilling Covfefe. There's really no agenda, although we are gonna talk about what's going on in Trump world here. We haven't seen the end of the interview yet, and we'll finish it up. Let's see if we even have an idea of what. Let's see, we're at about 2:33 right now, and it goes to. Looks like he keeps talking until 2:43. So about 10 minutes of interview left. So that'll take us about 7 hours of broadcasting to get to. Especially with Spilling Covfefe, because even though this is a fact check, and even though this is the live stream, officially has to be registered with the FEC and all that sort of stuff. So this episode is registered already with the FEC. So much paperwork with everything. You know, if you want to become president, if you want to announce that you're a presidential candidate, it's going to cost you the time it takes to fill out a one-page form. If you go to the FEC, look up Form 2, it's 1 page long, big boxes, large signature, Donald J. Trump. Trump saying that he can't announce whether he's going to run for president or not is complete nonsense. There's no law saying that you can't do it. Here's the thing. Someone told me Alec Baldwin has a podcast by that name, and I say that. So I don't know if now I owe Alec money, but I do know that I want to watch the show with him and Christian Slater, and I'm assuming other people, on Peacock. And guys, can I just say that I miss whatever channel it was that had the little shorts? Ubi, Pemby, Oopla. This is why I didn't decide. Remember right at the beginning of the pandemic? Thank you, Nanny. Happy birthday to you too. My birthday was last Friday, and this is how long I've been held on to things. I tend to procrastinate, but I'm not going to procrastinate today. I'm gonna push that off and get to that later. Money does corrupt. I'm completely corrupted. Let me just finish this text because it's about Pembroke Studios. They had a TV there that stopped working, and the proprietors there are 88 and 90 years old, and they're just adorable. They want me to stay living there. They're just like, does Kevin have to go? Because what happened is Pembroke the cat, who the studio's not named after, by the way, just completely coincidental. Pembroke the cat was not a friendly type when I moved in there. Now he's all lovey-dovey. He just is all about the cat love coming up and rubbing on you. And so when the lady of the house came home, she's 88 years old, instead of hiding from them, Pembroke was right at the front door. And now she thinks like I'm like a cat whisperer. And so they're like, can he just stay? He doesn't have a house. Can he just stay living here, please? It's adorable. But anyway, their TV's all messed up. So hopefully today I'll be able to zip by there and get their TV, because you don't just throw out a TV. You have to take it to a recycling event. And there's one tomorrow near me. Just give me 1 second. Ask your parents if today would be good to come over and grab TV. And although that seems altruistic in nature, of which I am naturally not inclined, what it really is about is, folks, you know me, and Marcy understands. Marcy sent me a mug, Spilling Covfefe. Bigly cup of Covfefe, which one of the best birthday presents I've ever had. So it's not really about picking up the TV, it's about going there and grabbing the mug that I left. So right now, the Covfefe mug is sitting in Beverly Hills. That's where I want to be. Living in Beverly Hills. Could I live with one septuagenarian and one octogenarian and one whatever a 90-year-old is? Because one of them's 88 and one of them's 90, I believe. They're delightful. They're delightful individuals. So yeah, I probably could. Anyway, so now this is what Spilling Covfefe is like, by the way. We're 8.5 minutes into the broadcast, and we haven't done any fact-checking whatsoever. And we might not even get to it, because now that we saw last night, they started talking about finances, the stock market, etc. Trump has no idea how anything works. He really doesn't. If it's his own money, etc., then yeah, he knows how to do the crooked ways to hide the money, etc., etc. Nonagenarian, I believe it. But when it comes to how markets work and forces and GDP and all the other stuff, he's always wrong. Always, always, always. And I have video of that, but we're not going to show it. Okay. He does know how to go bankrupt. He does have that going for him. By the way, grand jury, Weisselheimer's, all the stuff going on with the Trump Corporation. Like, hurry it up. Can you, please? Can I just say this, too? You know what? I'm not going to say it. But it came out on Hannity's show or whatever it was last night. And things have been said, and I've said them before on the broadcast. There is a large group. If you group people together, which I don't mind, I don't mind. I don't like doing, because everybody's an individual, and I know for myself, within whatever groups I can be classified, I just don't fit in. I do my own thing. But there's a very large group of people that have a low vaccination rate, and boy, the left just goes nuts when you play identity politics, but it's like, it's a huge problem. A huge problem. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Some of you might know to what I'm referring. But you can't do anything nowadays without... What was it? Oh yeah, Super Bowl. I had a dream last night as I was taking in my cancer from my Philips CPAP. I had a dream last night. By the way, great sleep with the CPAP. Highly recommend it. And yes, will it take 20 years off my life with cancer? Probably. Um, yeah, the guy who was supposed to host Jeopardy is already out because of a scandal. Yeah, this is why I can't run for senator. A, no one would vote for me. B, I don't want to. I could dig being a senator, but there's just so much garbage work involved in it. I was student body president for 2 meetings in high school because I realized the nuns run this place. There's nothing we can do. We can't even get like a healthy snack machine in here. We wanted a vending machine, and the nuns are having none of it. That was a completely unintentional pun. I'm very happy with it. I think my day's done. I'm going back to bed. Good night, everybody. Happy Friday. You know what, though? I might as well stay up because I might be going to see Pembroke here. Let's see. I know as we thrilled. Don't feel obligated. Oh, this is nice. See, so this is the response. I said, ask your parents if today would be a good day to come by and pick up that TV. Because, put up a different TV there. Actually, and it was, I have to give producer Joanna credit as well. Her car was big enough for the TV. They had a 55-inch TV that's fit into their little entertainment unit that's sort of pre-built into their den. And my car was just slightly like 1.5 inches too small. Man, if I only had a couple of extra inches of cargo space in my car. Let's not dig into that at all, shall we? Just move on from that particular. If Lizzie was around, she would capture that and use that on the Twitch. Producer Joanna went to the Costco and picked up the TV, and we put it in her car, and she helped me pull it out of the box. No, I pulled it out of the box all by myself. What the hell did she do? She drove the car. Anyway, so then they're going to pay her back for the TV because she used her Costco card. Here's the thing, okay? Oh, isn't that nice, Producer Jojo? No, do not give her any credit because she gets money back on her Costco card because she's got like an executive membership. So I think she's going to get like $20 back for buying the TV for these people, right? There's going to be a profit margin in there. It's all about the moolah. So don't be like, oh, that's so sweet of Producer Jojo helping the old folks. No, this is all a gambit. She's always all about the gambits. Stephanie says they'll send you, this is about the CPAP. We found out yesterday that there's a recall on CPAPs. And I use a CPAP at night because I have the apnea. Stephanie says, and what it is there's little filters and stuff or little rubber parts or something inside the CPAP that over time can degrade and then you end up sucking them up. And that's not good. So Stephanie says, they'll send you a replacement kit for the parts that cause cancer. Kevin, well, I don't want new parts that cause cancer, Stephanie. That just seems forget, I'm not doing anything now. They're going to send me more cancer. So I said, ask your parents if today would be good to come over and grab the TV. And my friend responded, oh, you're so sweet, Kevin. Are you really willing to do that? I know they would be thrilled to see you, but please don't feel obligated if it's too much of a schlep. They're Jewish. Do you have my dad's cell? They're all like, oh, you're so sweet, Kevin. You're so wonderful. No, I want my mug, okay? That's what this is about. Don't think that have feelings and get all involved and mushy, which is nonsense. I am a rock. I am an island. And a rock feels no pain. And an island never cries. Oh, the judges are here. One of them's awake, I think. But here's the thing. Can I just say, we talk about this. I know some of you don't have the Apple. But it's $5 a month. And there has never been a television show that I have hated so much for making me love it so much as Ted Lasso. Ridiculous. I caught up with episodes. New episode comes out today. Might be already out. I caught up with episodes. Is my volume a little low? Yeah, because I'm speaking. I'll pump my volume up for you guys. I was watching a couple of the episodes last night, and the most ridiculous things will be, oh my God, Higgins and his wife, and I'm tearing up. And they were playing, what is it? She Tastes Like Rainbows by the Rolling Stones. It's like rainbow, which is really one of the few Rolling Stones songs that I like, which is ridiculous. Because growing up, I was all about the Beatles. Because the Beatles, like the one album I had when I was in Africa as a kid. My parents bought the Beatles. Well, they also had Bert Humperdinck, Nana Muscuri, a bunch of other musical tastes. But in terms of Rolling Stones versus Beatles, when I found out about the Rolling Stones, when I came back to civilization, I was like, oh man, they're trying to be the Beatles. I hate them. And there's this weird like Chevy versus Ford rivalry between the Beatles and the Stones. Like, I don't care. Shh, producer JoJo's here. Don't tell her we've been talking about her. So I always hated the Stones, but they do have a great catalog of music. And I don't know what it is about Ted Lasso. I don't know why we love each and every character so much. But it is a masterful piece of art. And I don't want to start dissecting it, because being in the industry or being who I am or whatever it is, I will start breaking things down on television. I'll go, oh, I like the way the editor does it, and the music here, and I go, see how it's underneath the whole time, and then they bring it up, and then boom, right at that, and then they played the chorus 14 times in a row just to keep it going underneath, and you don't even notice it, but it's there, and it keeps that emotion going because the music brings out the limbic system. And I don't want to do that with Ted Lasso. I just love that show. Love it like a child, but like if I had good children, right? So, highly recommend it if you don't watch the Ted Lasso. And I will at some point. And this may be the way I pave my future here. I need to start making money. YouTube still has me demonetized. I just saw an article on Business Insider about people making money, like a ton of YouTubers and how much they make. I'll give you an idea. How much money? And they're going to start off with somebody making like a huge amount of money. Here we go. For instance, finance YouTuber Nate O'Brien, he's a finance YouTuber, okay, made $440,000 in revenue from YouTube ads a year with about 1 million subscribers. So I'm at about 9,300 subscribers. So by 3793, I should reach my 1 million subscriber mark, and in $2,093, that's $180 a month. So not bad. That's with Bidenflation. Like Joe-flation works. Go with it. Bidenflation, it just doesn't work. And Matt Gaetz just doesn't understand things like that. That being said, he's probably got a following on YouTube, and he's probably not even demonetized. And the people who aren't demonetized on YouTube, but I'm demonetized, it's like all I'm doing is doing the facts and trying to help the peoples. That's all. I've never been about like, guys, your freedom. Okay, so do you have my dad's cell? Hold on, let me just answer that. Nope. There we go. And the old TV, because it's outside the box already, and we like to think that way, it should fit into my car. I don't think I need producer JoJo to go with me. Okay, so let's listen more. This is Maria Bartiromo talking with President Trump from, I think, 2 mornings ago now. Yeah, 2 mornings ago. And you can watch the earlier part of the interview if you watch the live stream from yesterday. Should still be up. It might be taken down. I might have a copyright strike. I don't know. I have no control over what happens at YouTube. I should give him a call.
2 months?
Oh, so what I also found out is that YouTube Space, which is one of the reasons I moved to LA, really I would have moved here one way or the other, because I've been here for 2 years and I haven't used it. If you get to 10,000 subscribers, and I believe, get there. I think the folks on Twitter could get me there pretty quickly. because things on Twitter can happen like that. I'm at 9,300, 9,400, something like that. I could get to 10,000, and then I'd be eligible to use YouTube Space, which it's basically a giant TV studio, recording studio, lots of computers with the best software, lots of equipment that you can rent, great cameras. There's Reds available. To give you an idea, so it's about 50,000 square foot, and they have studios built. And then, for example, during Halloween, they will build a haunted set because they want creators to go in there and create things. I don't know how many creators actually go in there and do things. It wasn't that busy when they gave a tour to my daughter. I just along for the ride with the tour, but I sort of paid attention. No one knows cameras in here, so we won't even talk about that. But anyway, it's a great space. What I found, because it's a Google enterprise, there is so little information about it on Google. Anybody else you want information on? Oh, Apple's closing its stores, but now they're not going to. And the employees aren't coming back till January. They were coming back October, and originally September. Any other corporation, there's tons of news about there. Google, you just don't find stuff about Google on there. I found out yesterday that Google is planning not to reopen its YouTube Space in Los Angeles, New York, etc. So I don't even know if that's a thing. Eve says, I'm up for sub jobs, 3, 4, 5. Oh, substitution jobs. So Eve is a teacher, 3, 4, 5th grade, and then a call for kindergarten. I don't do that. I don't know, system's always messed up. Woke me up for a kindergarten call. Cool when computer wakes you with errors. Oh, okay, so she's up early because I guess she's getting calls for substitution work, and she's not doing that, is what I'm gleaming from that, Eve. Cool. All right.
So what kind of impact is this going to have on the market? And at the same time,
Oh, okay. Oh, crap.
You've got these.
Okay, it's back. Whew, I thought I ruined the whole thing. I thought life was over. So asking Trump what impact Afghanistan's going to have on the market. None. The market does not care. The market keeps setting records. Moving on. How much impact it actually has? Nothing at all. Okay? She might be asking about the impact of the booster shots. I don't know. Pfizer was down yesterday. It'll be up today. It'll go down the next day. That's the way the stock market works. Let's see. Nikkei average was up. This is the morning of. So that's Japan. That's Japan's stock market. Was up 161 points. That's 0.5%. Things go up, things go down. We can take a look, but I'm not even worried about it right now. Afghanistan, just a blip on the radar. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, if we can get the Americans out without a bunch of them getting killed, it'll be a success. Will it be looked at in history as a complete failure? Yeah, a little bit. Because there's the images of the people on the runway and grabbing onto planes and falling off the planes. Pro tip, don't grab onto planes. Like, even if they're not moving, do not grab a plane. I've been out on the wing of a C-131. Those things are just freaking huge. This was, I think they were C-17s on the runway. I could be wrong. They weren't quite as big. But those things are mammoth, and it's really a bad idea. Do not walk out on the wing of a C-131 as it's about to take off. That's my advice.
Massive spend and tax plans.
That being said, those people are in desperate shape at that day. They thought they were going to get killed. And some of them might be. Some of them were by holding onto the landing gear. But it's not something I haven't considered before. Like, could you stow away by grabbing the landing gear? The landing gear goes up, and would you be able to roll off as it's shutting, as it scissors itself close? Could you roll off into the parts that close around the landing gear? And if you tried that, you'd have to time it perfectly to roll off. It's like a Mission Impossible scene. You know, roll off and not roll back out and then plummet to your death. And I'm not even trying to make fun of it. I'm just saying I've considered that. How could you do that? Could you stow away the same way you could in the old days on the Titanic? Just get yourself into the back of a car that's being shipped to America. One way or another doesn't work out well.
Nancy Pelosi is pushing that a vote comes together on infrastructure as well as the $5.5 trillion reconciliation plan. Give us your take on what this is going to...
The infrastructure bill will be passed by itself. And then they will do the reconciliation, and that may pass. It's too early to tell. That's right. They were attacking the senators yesterday, the Republican senators, because that's their job on Fox Business. Attack the Republican senators who want infrastructure. Because, again, we know that for Maria, for Trump, etc., it's not about what's good for America. It's just about making Joe Biden look bad. They do not care if the captain of this ship has failures, even though we're all riding this baby.
Economy and the stock market.
Well, Mitch McConnell made a horrible miscalculation with his 19 people on that plan. It's 19 including Mitch. That was as usual, a horrible. He reminds me very much of Biden. He made a horrible miscalculation on that deal. He wanted to be bipartisan. Our people don't care if he's bipartisan. They want good deals. And he got 19 people, including himself.
Mitch wants money for projects in Kentucky. That's his job. He's a senator for Kentucky.
To vote and to give them a victory. They didn't have a victory in a long time. They were dying.
Mitch's wife also owns transportation companies. There's a lot of money in that for new gravel.
They're dying at the border. They're dying in Afghanistan. They're dying all over the place, the Democrats. And he wanted to give them a victory. And why he wanted...
Mitch wanted to give the Democrats a victory. That's what this is about for Trump. That's his analysis. Thank you very much, retired gentleman. Forced retired gentleman.
To give him a victory, I don't know. But he gave...
That just doesn't make any sense, right? So this is your theory, and if the theory ends with, I don't know, maybe take a look at it.
Give them a bad deal. Only 11% goes to infrastructure. It's not an infrastructure plan.
Not true. Nonsense.
It's a Green New Deal plan. And because they signed that, it's going to be easy to get the real beauty, the one they really want, the $3.5 trillion. It's going to be much easier to get that because they signed this deal.
Nope. One has nothing to do with the other. These are futures, by the way, from two days ago.
And Mitch McConnell should be ashamed of himself. He's a stupid man, and I've said it for a long time. They gave Biden victory. He hasn't had a victory. People can't believe. And it was reported as great victory for the Democrats. Mitch McConnell should be overthrown and overthrown fast because these senators...
Overthrown fast? He's a senator. What are you going to do, expel him? Maybe he means as leader of the Senate. Who knows? It's just nonsense.
So, I mean,
he's leading them down a bad path. We have a chance to take back the Senate.
Eve won't do kindergartner classes because the kids won't keep their masks on. I get it.
We have a chance to take a big chance. And a lot of it's because of me. Because I get on and I do those telephone calls, those teleconference calls, and I haven't lost one yet. We just won last week a congressional race in Ohio. I haven't lost...
I think it was like 3 weeks ago now, but anyway.
I think 100...
And he's lost a ton. Just a week before that, in Texas, they lost a congressional race.
122-2. Mitch McConnell is...
Just numbers. He could say, I'm 567-3. I did... All right.
Is hurting our party very badly. That 19-person vote, and those people, and some of them are friends of mine, those people...
Finish a sentence.
People have hurt their party very much, and they've hurt their nation, and they shouldn't have done it. And they know it.
So who's running things, Mr. President? I mean, look, you've got massive tax and spending plans. Joe Biden says he wants the capital gains rate to go to 43.4%.
Yeah. Well, that'll kill the economy 100%. He wants it to go to 43 to finance the Green New Deal done by AOC, a young woman that knows less about the environment than a 5-year-old child, okay? A 5-year-old child.
What about baby food? Does she know stuff about baby food?
And what it's going to do is put tremendous expense on our companies, and our companies will not be able to compete with China. I had them competing with China because of the tariffs. They won't be able to compete with China. They won't be able to compete with Europe because we're going to be so screwed up with the Green New Deal stuff and creating energy that costs 25 times more. Do you know how expensive wind is compared to what we have with natural gas and other things? Wind, number one, it doesn't have the power. Number two, it's intermittent, as you can imagine. But do you know how expensive wind is compared to natural gas, which we essentially get for free? You know, we have so much of it. They burn it at the top of the wells. We burn it. We give it away. We get it.
Yeah, we do, actually. That methane, they burn off the methane, which is terrible for the environment because methane is a much worse, much heavier greenhouse gas. And they just do controlled burns to get rid of the methane because they're just after the natural gas. And it's terrible. And I'm not even going to talk about that part.
For nothing. It's clean. It's great.
It's not clean. Natural gas is not clean. Natural gas is a greenhouse gas.
And yet we're building windmills, ruining all our land.
We're not building windmills. We're building wind turbines. They don't mill anything.
They got windmills all over the country going up, and it's all subsidized because you can't build a windmill without subsidy. So the government is subsidizing all this crap. Yeah,
is there a chance this massive misstep in Afghanistan gets in the way of Biden's economic agenda getting through? Do you think now people
No, it's just going to be brushed off with history.
think twice about voting for this?
Yeah.
No one's not going to vote for infrastructure. We're not going to have any more bridges because Biden, Afghanistan, the army, remember the one with the spirit?
There is a chance because I think he's lost such credibility but he's not running government anyway. They have a cabal that runs government.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's just stop blaming him.
It's a group of people.
Who's running
cabal? He's running a cabal. There's a cabal that runs the American government. This is a former president of the Union. And there's a cabal that runs this is what he thinks. The man is fucking insane. It's just so unbelievable. And there's still 70 million people out there that support him. And I'm sorry, at that point, if you still support Trump, are you not crazy yourself? If you think there's a cabal that runs the country?
Government.
Who's running it, Mr. President? Who do you think is in charge?
Doesn't want to say, but he totally knows. And he's going to write a book. It's going to be the book of all books, and it's going to be about who's a good governor and who's a bad governor. Just you wait. It's going to be part of the Pillow Symposium next year.
I don't want to say right now, but they use their prosecutors to get people. They prosecute people, and yet the son doesn't get prosecuted. And you take a
Yeah, you use their prosecutors to get people, criminals. And they somehow they jury rig the Jerrys.
look at what he's done. How about the tape? The tape is a scandal. Most people haven't seen the tape. The tape that came out.
He's talking about Hunter Biden.
Hunter is a national scandal and extremely illegal and not.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. That's a good reminder. Trump said he was going to drain the swamp. What happened? Apparently, huge failure on his part. Much more of an impactful failure than getting out of Afghanistan and not having any Americans die.
Nothing's doing anything. Nobody's doing anything about it.
I haven't watched the news this morning, so it could be we could have 150 Americans dead. I don't know.
Go after people that are Republicans. They go after Republicans.
But if the Taliban's smart, which he keeps saying how great the Taliban are, they've been fighting for 2,000 years. They're really great negotiators. If they're smart at all, they're going to let Americans leave the country. Because the last thing you want to do is take out a couple of Americans and then Joe Biden actually takes some action. That being said, it's hard to defeat an enemy where when you kill them, it's like, yay, we're getting 72 virgins.
You're talking
misconduct what's happening.
Yeah, you're talking about the most recent tape of Hunter Biden. He says his third laptop was actually stolen from him, and he's I know the tape.
Yeah, they can stolen by a Russian. He was sitting there with some woman. I don't know who the hell the woman, and she didn't have clothes on, and neither did he. This would have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the biggest scandal in history, and now they don't put it on. I'm telling you, this is communism. What they do is they don't put things on.
If there's news, rumors about the president's son, and they don't put it on because they can't verify any of it, Then that's communism. That's how that works.
It's if something's bad about Biden, they don't put it on. If something's bad about me, they make it 10 times worse than they put it on. If something's good about me,
well, we know that's right.
Wait, how are there bad things about you, sir? I thought you were the greatest president of all time.
We know that, and I actually want to bring this up. This is one of the issues I want to bring up with you, because look at this tweet that Devin Nunes posted yesterday showing the official Twitter account of the spokesman for Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan.
That's the Taliban.
We've got an actual Twitter page for the spokesman for the Taliban, allowed on Twitter. They're good to go to tweet all day long. You're not. You are the 45th president of the United States, and you
who threatened the country with violence, who spurred on violence during an actual insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. But go on.
You've been banned from Twitter, and yet you've got the propaganda from the Chinese Communist Party up there.
So Marcy sent me her old laptop. It is actually Hunter's laptop. I did verify that. All sorts of images on there, mostly crack cocaine. And I thought, man, I wish I'd never voted for Hunter.
There as well, Global Times, Xinhua, all recommending that the CCP, for example, bomb Australia. They're fine. They're all on Twitter, but you're not.
So I'm on Save America, and it's doing great, but they took me off Twitter because I'm right.
He's on Save America, and it's doing great? What?
All recommending that the CCP, for example, bomb Australia. They're fine. They're all on Twitter, but you're not.
So I'm on Save America, and it's doing great, but they took me off Twitter.
So OAN has a platform called 45 Talk or something like that, and then there's Getter, and Parler, I think, is back. Save America, is that just what they're calling their own blog? I know Save America is their fundraising thing. Oh, let's go back with the fundraising. Once he files with the FEC, which is what you have to do to officially run for president, you can say, I'm going to run for president, I'm going to file, I'm having an exploratory committee, all these different things. Once you actually file, the money you take in has to be used for an actual presidential campaign. Right now, all the money he's taking in, he can use that for whatever he wants. So it's much more restrictive. So no, but there's no law saying he can't say that he's running for president.
Because I'm right.
But he's not gonna run. I'm of the belief he's not gonna run. There's gonna be some conspiracy, Hunter Biden's laptop, something or other is gonna prevent him from running. I really want to run. I love this country. I want to save this country, but it's the deep state and blah blah blah, and so he's not going to run, but he's going to keep all this money, all this fundraising that he's doing right now, and help me, America. You need to save America so that we can run again. He's going to say that he can't run for some reason because under investigation or some such thing. People have run for president, by the way, that are criminals, convicted criminals. Nothing stops you.
I mean, I'm right. Hydroxychloroquine now turned out to be a great thing. The Wuhan lab.
It didn't.
When I said Wuhan lab, that turned out to be the right thing.
No, we don't know that.
They took me off because of the Wuhan lab.
No, they didn't.
Because of hydroxychloroquine.
Nope, it's not true.
But they really took me off for a very innocent statement.
Right, you just said that they took you off for those reasons, and now you're telling us, no, actually, it was really this.
I mean, it was incredible. And yet they leave dictators
telling people to be violent, yeah.
On that are stone cold killers. We're dealing with a sick group of people. But you know what? We're going to win. I'm going to Alabama this weekend. I'm making a speech. I said, how big is the crowd? They said, anything you want, sir. You can have 50,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Really? I just realized I have a tennis match to play when he's doing his speech thing. Right at the time. Okay, sorry, folks. Maybe I'll cover it the next day. I don't even know. It's just they only schedule these things when I have things to do. And I don't do much. You can have it today. Why am I playing tennis on a Saturday night? What the hell has my life become? Hi, Colleen.
100,000. You can have 150. All of Alabama wants to go to it. I said, let's keep it down to whatever we can have, because
Alabama has 0 ICU units left. Let's get a bunch of them together with a virus that spreads like hotcakes.
We have the fairgrounds, which holds a lot of people, and the police are saying they've never seen anything like it.
The police are not saying that because there's no one at the fairgrounds as of yet.
You know why? Because people are desperate for help. They see a man.
How is this going to help? But they see a man
that did not get elected legally. They
correct. Oh, you mean Biden?
See this man who's president. He's destroying our country. He's destroying our country. And you know that better, and I watch your show all the time, and I watch those numbers. And what's happening, we were energy independent 6 months ago.
We weren't.
Today they're negotiating with OPEC, and OPEC just told them no. We were energy.
I'm not even sure to what he's referring. I do not know with the OPEC thing right now.
Filled up the national oil reserves. When the oil was cheap, I filled them up for almost nothing.
Yeah,
and now
that was
they
good.
want to use that oil because they don't have any oil, so they want to take out the oil that I just put.
I have not heard anything about. Well, the trouble with this rescheduling tennis, is that there's 3 other people involved. So, like, those people are like regular people with jobs. It's fine. When you schedule the tennis, you don't know that Trump's going to be doing his thing. And honestly, it's stupid of me to say, like, well, I got Trump rally to cover. I can't play tennis. Really, completely insignificant, but it's fun. We have fun. And they reserved a court. Yeah, you got to reserve courts, especially on a Saturday night, et cetera, et cetera. And there's lights involved, and yeah, it's fine.
It was empty for 20 years. I filled it in because I got a great deal in oil when oil went down very
the strategic oil reserves were not empty for 20 years. It's complete nonsense.
low. I said, let's fill them up. And we did. I don't know. These are some of the achievements that nobody even talks about, Maria.
Because they don't exist.
Now they want to use that oil that I just bought to bring down the price a little bit. My price was $1.87 for gasoline. Now it's going to be over $5. That's bigger than any.
Everything has changed. Everything has changed, Mr. President. I don't think you would be going all around the country doing rallies if you were not intending on throwing your hat in the ring again, Mr. President. Are you going to run in 2024?
Well, I can't say because it's illegal and the deep state, but you're going to be very happy.
Campaign finance laws, which are antiquated and stupid.
Stupid. So good with the adjectives.
Okay, stupid. They're corrupt in a way, but they're stupid.
I literally the opposite of corruption. The campaign finance laws are specifically set there to stop corruption. But they're corrupt in a way.
Doesn't allow me to tell you that, okay? If I tell you that, a whole host of things.
You just told us.
Things happens, which are bad.
Oh.
So I can't tell you.
Yeah, that he's nailed into that money being used for the campaign. He can't use it to pay for his personal life, to pay back the loans. We still don't know how much he owes whom. We still haven't seen the taxes. I guess they're still under audit 5 years later.
I can tell you this. I love our country. You're going to be very happy.
A little laughter. Trump never laughs, but he laughed at that. You're going to be very happy. I don't know.
Mr. President, we so appreciate.
So I make the predictions. And as Mark Twain said, predictions are... No, Yogi Berra, I believe, said that predictions are hard to make, especially when they're about the future. Especially when it comes to Donald Trump. Because right now, the way he's behaving, it doesn't make any sense for him to run. It's all about a grift. This is what... But that's the consistent line throughout Trump's career. If you want to call it a career. So yeah, he's just grifting. He's just taking in the money. And the longer he grifts, the more money he takes in for himself personally. But he may decide to run. I don't know.
Appreciate you.
Has no chance of winning. No chance of winning. I'll make that call now. I was right about him winning in 16. I was right about him losing in 20. No chance whatsoever of winning. I hope he runs. I hope to God I'm wrong, and I hope he runs for president. Number one, it benefits me financially. People start coming on, they start being patrons, they start watching what I do more. You guys are great. You're supporting me in the downtimes, really, in the doldrums of the campaign, because it's 3 years away. Nobody cares. You guys are keeping your eye on the ball. That's why you guys are my favorites. Don't tell the ones that come on in the future. So it would be good for me if he runs. Good for the country, because he will sabotage the Republicans' chance of winning the presidency again.
Joining us this morning, we are certainly...
Oil went down to zero. Yeah, oil went down to less than zero. And that was a good time to fill up the strategic reserves.
Watching and witnessing some very serious and dangerous situations in America right now, and it's good to get your take on all of this. Certainly
Maria,
a very active 6 months.
What you saw the last 2 days is just the beginning of a long slog. They have us. They're tough negotiators. They're very tough people and good fighters. And even the 7,000 soldiers that we sent over there, read about the Valley of Death in Afghanistan with what they did to the British. Those 7,000 soldiers are in big danger.
They're guarding the airport. But yes, soldiers inherently are in danger. Yeah, that's how being a soldier works. That's why we honor them. That's why when they die, we have a Memorial Day. That's why we have Armistice Day and or Veterans Day to honor the people who've made that sacrifice or are willing to make that sacrifice. That is quite astute, Mr. Blogger.
Should have gotten everybody out before we moved our military out. The most incompetent group of people I've ever seen.
That, by the way, was never part of Trump's plan.
The dumbest thing I've ever seen. The border was dumb, but now this is 10 times dumber than the border even. I didn't think anything could be like that.
Well,
It makes the border look like baby food.
Our country is going to hell. It's being run by incompetent people.
By the way, our country's not going to hell. Things are good.
Mr. President, thanks very much for being with me this morning. We so appreciate it. We hope you'll come back soon. President Donald J. Trump joining me this morning on the phone. And the president just talked about everything from Afghanistan to China to spending and this upcoming big vote on the two spending and tax plan.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's the end of that interview. So we covered that. Let's just see. I like to see what we should be outraged by. So we're going to do that. We're going to watch a little bit of Fox and Friends in the morning. We got 2 other interviews with Trump. And if somebody sees an interview with him and they can let me know about that, that would be great. I know he was on Newsmax. I know a couple of days ago he was on Hannity, but that's sort of been analyzed to death by several other sources. Let's just take a quick look in at Fox and Friends and see what we need to be outraged by today. Going to jump ahead here because there's always music at the beginning. We don't want to get a copyright strike. Biden. Okay, here we go.
Good morning. It is 6 a.m.
Okay, so terrible things happening in Afghanistan. I'm not downplaying it by any means whatsoever. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, on January 6th, we broadcast for 16 hours or 18 hours straight. I think it was 16 hours straight. The day of the insurrection, the drivel war, as I like to call it. And we went straight through with some help from Kevin Lee Daughter as well. So a ton of support off of that. And then YouTube took the whole thing down. I'm just covering the actual news. This is what's happening. There was never a time during January 6th where I said in the broadcast, hey, everybody, go out to Washington and be violent. Hey, these people are great. Never happened. Never happened, but they took the whole thing down. And then I was demonetized.
On the east coast of the United States of America. It's 2:30 in the afternoon in Kabul, Afghanistan. And as you can see right there, a Fox News alert. Anti-Taliban protests spreading across that country with hundreds gathering in the capital city of...
Yeah, amazing too. And I don't know that it's going to end well. The weird thing is there are still parts of the Afghan army that are active. And they may be laying in wait for strategic attacks. We might be beginning a civil war at this point. But these are the Afghan people protesting the Taliban. That's the Afghanistan flag right there. What? That's the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. That's the flag. The Taliban do not like to see that. And this is fairly organized. And I don't know how long it is before the Taliban cut off the internet.
Kabul honoring their country's Independence Day.
But the demonstration quickly ended when Taliban militants opened fire on that crowd. Meanwhile, Taliban fighters are reportedly going house to house, hanging people who have worked with the United States.
It's terrible. Thousands are still trying to escape. President Biden is expected to address the United States today as his administration admits they don't know how many Americans need to be evacuated. Griff.
Up here it says Kabul, Afghanistan on Thursday. These are people getting off the plane. That's not Kabul. No one is traveling to Kabul right now. This is Qatar or somewhere else where the planes are being unloaded.
Jenkins joins us live from Washington with more. Griff.
Good morning, Will. Stephen Ainsley. I think now the entire country is beginning to witness the full measure of Taliban reprisal. According to a retired Marine sergeant speaking to his interpreter from 2010, who is still trapped in country, Taliban fighters are reportedly going house to house in Afghanistan, hanging people who worked with the U.S. And the violence not ending there. Several deaths are being reported after Taliban fighters opened fire into crowds of protesters celebrating Afghanistan's Independence Day in Kabul. A similar brutal scene in another Afghan city where several others were killed for simply waving the Afghan flag. Yet the bloodshed,
black and white. We're getting black and white footage.
Is not deterring.
I wonder if that's just to take down bandwidth so that it can be broadcast on low bandwidth internet signal, possibly. That would be my guess. Black and white uses up a lot less bandwidth. So this is a Afghanistan flag that stretched for blocks and blocks that people were carrying, and there were cars underneath it. It was interesting. It was like a flag parade.
Anti-Taliban protests from spreading throughout the rest of the country. Meanwhile, U.S. officials racing to evacuate thousands of desperate Americans and vulnerable Afghans.
The president is committed to ensuring that every American who wants to leave Afghanistan gets out of Afghanistan. He believes that we can accomplish that by August 31st.
But there's one big problem. The Pentagon admitting it really doesn't know how many Americans are on the ground trying to get out.
How many American citizens remain in Afghanistan?
I don't know. The State Department would be a better place to go for an estimate of how many Americans are in Afghanistan.
And in an internal State Department memo, first reported by Wall Street Journal and confirmed by Fox News, 24 officials at the Kabul embassy warned Secretary of State Blinken that the Afghan government would rapidly collapse as U.S. troops withdrew. It's the clearest evidence that the administration was made aware the Taliban's takeover was imminent, with Afghan security forces unable to stop it. So we'll see what the
No, Jane's talking about the Fox News people.
President has to say today at 1 p.m. He'll address the nation with Vice President Harris in attendance. Will, Ainsley, Steve?
Hey, Griff, quick question. I was speaking.
Okay, so 1 p.m. today, which is 10 a.m. Pacific time. So I'll try and broadcast that. I think, we can get back to live broadcast here. So we'll cover that. That's so 1 p.m. is probably more like 1:30, but we'll go on the air later on.
To our White House correspondent last night, and there were 0 public events planned for today or the future.
Okay, but now there's one for 1 p.m. Oh, the president hasn't said anything. Oh, well, he's saying something today. Oh, okay, but Jen Psaki, the press agent, she's on vacation. Oh, she came back. Okay, but yesterday there was nothing on the schedule. Well, there's something on the schedule today. Oh, okay. It's so pathetic. Come on, Steve. You're better than. What are you even going to ask?
Because, the last interview Joe Biden did apparently did not go that well. When did they decide, and why do you think it is that suddenly they're going to come out at 1 o'clock and he's going to make a statement on...
Suddenly, he's going to come out at 1 o'clock. This is like 3 o'clock in the morning, by the way. He's gonna suddenly appear. Why? Why did they decide several hours in advance that suddenly... Come on, Steve. You're supposed to be the sane one on the couch.
In Afghanistan.
Hard to say, Steve, when they decided it, but the simple old, apparatus in Washington of finding out who knew what and when certainly shed a lot of light in the president's comments in an interview with George Stephanopoulos. The question now is, what exactly was known? Because this memo comes from mid-July, and yet we've seen in the matter of about a week the entire nation fall, particularly the security situation at Kabul. We also will have to hear from the president now what's angering bipartisan lawmakers here in Capitol Hill, and that is, so what's the plan to further increase these evacuations? And yet we know they don't even know how many are trying to get out.
Yeah, but as at random pointed out, first off, wouldn't be the Pentagon's job to know that. DOD has no idea. The State Department would know things like that. And when you have a situation where people are fleeing or checking out, they don't always tell the embassy they're getting out of there. So this will all be sorted out. There is a number of Americans, and someone will know that number at some point as Americans flee the country. They don't always like, oh my God, we need to get to the airport because the Taliban's right outside on the street. Oh, hold on, we need to stop by the embassy that's being evacuated. Let them know. I'm sure, because, things happen at embassies like that. I'm sure there's going to be a suggestion box that you can just drop it in, and someone's going to grab that box as they get on the helicopter, and they're going to start writing it down. There's a ledger somewhere.
All right, Griff Jenkins. Thank you so much, Griff.
Thanks, Griff. Yeah, we definitely need to hear from the president, and we need to get all these Americans out.
And that's going to happen. That's the plan. But suddenly,
saying that we will be able to do it, or his administration is, by August 31st. So that's in 12 days.
One thing that struck me.
And he said that if we need to stay longer, we will stay longer.
As unsurprising in Griff's report is that apparently the Taliban's existential crisis, their growing pains, resulted in the violence we absolutely expected. But what was surprising in Griff's report, and you pointed this out, Steve, as we were watching, is the defiance we're seeing from some Afghans on the streets. This is surprising to see these protests, to see these Afghans standing up against a potential Taliban rule.
Absolutely. And those people who were protesting against the Taliban, remember, the Taliban's got all the guns, and they're going door to door, taking everybody's guns. They don't want to see any flags other than the Taliban flag, which is the white flag with the Arabic lettering on it. And there you can see the national flag. So those people,
are risking their lives to fly that flag.
No kidding. And that's why they're running for their lives right there. Speaking of running for their lives, the State Department and the DOD and the White House, everybody's being cagey about how many people, United States citizens and
they're not being cagey, they just don't know.
Others do we have to get out?
Let's jump ahead here.
There's a lot of people here, so we need support. I mean, they all need support. Please, someone help them. And this is what we should deserve after serving you guys for a while. I'm calling on everyone. With all this bleeding, I'm bleeding all over because of the rash. People are rushing with my shoes. I get bleeding all over my finger. Cut my finger.
Wow. People they're rushing, they're trampling over people because they know it's a matter of life or death.
Yeah. And all those people are lining up to get on the airplanes. Did you realize?
Yeah, I want to see if they do any coverage of the bomber, the Capitol Hill bomber, which is not Capitol Hill because he went to the Library of Congress. I don't know if they're going to cover that at all. American allies stranded, grave danger. We know that.
Kamala Harris.
Just as he was for President Obama.
That's April 25th. Now they're going to attack Kamala Harris because that's important. Okay. And what about the bomber? What about the DC bomber? Oh, hold on.
When you see
hold on. Oh, we're going to do a diner. Okay, sweet. This guy, I don't care for his coverage. But let's see if he talks to some peoples, because it's all about what the people in the diner say. That's real America right there. Okay, so we're going to zoom ahead. I was going to let you guys go, but now that I know they're doing a diner spot, if they are actually doing a diner spot, because a lot of times when it's this guy, he doesn't talk to them much. But here we go. Here he is. He's going to talk to a real American. Let's see what's going on in the heartland. And I'm being serious about this. This is where you find out what people actually think in this country. Come on. Go.
Fort Drum. Let's talk with Charlie. Your son, West Point grad, you said there's a certain way to do this. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, my son, Tyler, who was company commander of the 530 clearance company in Fort Stewart, Georgia, when he was stationed at Fort Hood, was deployed to South Korea and in charge of moving a lot of the engineering equipment from Fort Hood to South Korea. I mean, it was my understanding that, you know, once your 9 months is up and it's time to ship everything back, it's people first, equipment second, and soldiers are last. So obviously with the past week that we've had, there's a little bit of inconsistency there.
What would you like to hear from the president of the...
Well, then Trump should have never started drawing down the troops. As per the peace agreement he signed with the Taliban, until the people were out of there.
United States.
Well, it'd be great if we knew who we left over there, you know, and it appears that, you know, there's undocumented U.S. citizens that, you know, we don't know
There are no undocumented U.S. citizens.
their whereabouts. We don't know if they hop on a plane, if somebody's sick, and if they're transmitting whatever. There seems to be a lot of...
You can say COVID, even though it's a hoax.
Inconsistency right now.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you.
Just for the record, COVID is not a hoax.
For your son's service. That's a sentiment that we continue to hear. I wanted you guys to talk to hear from Suzanne. Now, Suzanne, she's an Air Force veteran. Her husband...
Is she a nurse, though? She looks like she's wearing scrubs. Is that just her regular day outfit?
Also served as well, family members as well to serve. You were in Kuwait. Talk about how the veterans are feeling, Suzanne.
Emotions are all over the place right now. Sad about what's actually going on. There should have been a plan. There's no plan. We need to get our people out. We should have been out a long, long time ago. It's just very disheartening for all the hard work that everybody did over there to end it this way.
You said...
Yeah, this was how it was going to be from day one. She's absolutely right. It is disheartening. What are we there for? Well, we got to get bin Laden. Okay, well, we got bin Laden.
That you can't even watch the news anymore.
No, it's very upsetting. Very upsetting. It just brings up all kinds of emotions, mostly anger, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you for your service. That's the thing that we continue to hear. Forgotten men and women left there, no plan. Last person.
They're in New York, no masks.
I want you to talk to is Rich. Rich, you served in the Air Force. You've been on the receiving end of something like this. Talk about it.
When we went into Panama and got General Noriega, I was stationed at Charleston Air Force Base for the NEO evacuation of the dependents and the civilians, and received the folks evacuated from Panama. Unlike this, before, you know, it was a little bit different because it was an invasion, but we got our people out before we took action, okay? And that's what didn't happen here.
They didn't evacuate Panama, but okay.
You know, here we got our military out, and then, oh my God, we left our civilians behind. You know, it's just...
Well, there was the Afghan military there, and Trump had said that the Afghan military had tremendous spirit, amazing spirit. Trump trusted them.
It's upsetting.
Rich, thank you so much for your service. Guys, as you continue to hear from person after person, you don't leave American citizens behind. And when you look at the rest of these countries that are there, when you look at Britain, when you look at the French people going to get their people, we're supposed to be the leader of the world. And we're not doing that. And that is a sentiment that we continue to hear. I'm going to send it back to you guys in New York.
Yeah, Lauren.
Okay, let's see if we can find any more diners. Because that's my favorite part. Oh, is this just going to be a break-in where he doesn't actually interview anybody? Yep, okay. So they just had a break where he doesn't actually talk to anybody. And, oh, here, it looks like he's talking to a person. Good, let's hear the person. And here we go.
That's live from Mimi's Diner. Good morning, gentlemen. Lawrence?
Good morning. Good morning, family. Our great friend Tom Holman is actually from right outside of this town. We're at Mimi's, guys. Tom, can you talk about the mood here?
He's actually from the town where he lives. Wow. They found somebody who lives in the town?
Because I think it's hard to describe if you're not here talking with the folks.
Well,
He's got a Blue Lives Matter shirt, just for the record.
the community really counts on Fort Drum, right? And Fort Drum is home to the 10th Mountain Division. Now, that's the most deployed infantry division in the entire nation. They've been to Somalia, they've been in
Deployed, I think is the correct term, but okay.
Iraq and Afghanistan.
He's probably nervous. He's on TV.
For 20 years. So this community wraps itself around Fort Drum. So what's happening in Afghanistan is personal to this community because you know, a lot of these people work on the base. A lot of soldiers that are currently on the base live in our community. So it's all one big community. So the feelings are deep here that so much has been sacrificed by the soldiers of Fort Drum. We lost a lot of soldiers. So to see that country fall in the hands of the Taliban is disturbing to most people in this community.
You know, Tom, we're sitting at the table that was meant to be for our soldiers. They weren't able to come here because essentially they've been silenced, that they can't talk about politics or anything like that. But they have a voice.
Oh, hold on. They're at a table reserved for soldiers that can't come because they've been told they can't talk to the media? And so they knew about Fox News being at the diner, and so they didn't come to eat breakfast that morning? What is he saying? What?
Voice on this topic, and they're not too happy.
No, they're not. And you know, the Secretary of Defense, the military is being politicized, right? They should be training. They should be a lethal force to defend this country and play the away game, keep the bad guys out of this country. But right now, the leadership's so busy talking about critical race theory that the soldiers feel, you know, they've been abandoned by their own commanders. And
I don't think that's the case. I really don't think. Is there any military watching right now? You want to chime in on this?
And let me say, these soldiers here in Fort Drum, they're American patriots. This community, they're...
Critical race theory. Remember that thing that's been around since the 70s, but no one talked about until about like 3 months ago? Because of an AstroTurf campaign? Yeah.
They're flag-loving, gun-carrying patriots, and it's sad what's happening to the military right now. But God bless Fort Drum. God bless the 10th Mountain Division. They're keeping that country safe. They're there right now. They're deployed there right now, trying to keep that airport secure and trying to get many Americans back to this country. So, best of the best right here at Fort Drum, New York.
That's exactly right. And we're going to be talking later on in the show to military wives, people that have been impacted. You know, Tom, while I got you, I want to switch topics. Immigration, big issue. The new numbers coming out.
Why? Why are we talking about that now?
And we just read that there's going to be, the latest number is 200,000 more than the last record. So you were there during the Trump administration. What needs to happen right now to get the border under control?
Bring me back, I'll fix it in a week. Because what I'll do is reinstitute the Trump administration policies.
Yeah, we had that.
You can like or love President Trump. The fact is, President Trump has done more security.
You can like or love President Trump. You have the choice. It's up to you. I choose personally just to like him. But you can love him if you want to.
Secure our border than any president ever worked for, and I worked for 6 of them. This administration, it isn't mismanagement. It isn't incompetence. This is the open borders agenda. They came with a plan to open the border. And
borders are not open. Title 42 is still, that's the Trump administration's policy at the border. Biden just re-upped that about 3 weeks ago now.
They came with a plan because Joe Biden sold himself out to the progressive left and win the election.
Tom, does the enemy know this as well? Because the Taliban they're back in full effect right now. Do they know they can go to Mexico and cross?
I've said many times, they already have over 3.
Okay, if the CBP is catching people in record numbers, that tells you that they can't just go to Mexico and cross. Why? Why would they do that? They just got their country back, and you think they want to come to Mexico and walk across the border?
300,000 gotaways, people that crossed the border were not arrested by the Border Patrol. They've already arrested 7 on the terrorist watch list. How many didn't get arrested? So this is not just an immigration issue. It's a public health issue because of COVID coming across that country, but it's a national security issue. Because if you're somebody in this world who wants to do us harm, the way to get into the United States.
Says the guy in the diner where no one has a mask. Now, when you're eating in a diner, you're eating, but nobody has taken a bite this entire time. They're all watching the TV behind these guys. Actually, in front of these guys, but you can see them all staring at the TV.
Right now to the southwest border because it's wide open.
Tom Homan, former.
The southwest border is not wide open, and that's why there's been so many people being caught and processed.
ICE director. I'm going to send it back to you guys in New York, but that is the big question. When are we going to secure the border? Because we know that the terrorists know they can go straight through that Mexican border, come to the United States, and cause us harm. Back to you guys in New York.
Okay, so the Taliban has never been classified as a terrorist organization, by the way, by the U.S. government. That has not happened. There may have been one or two Taliban who went to Mexico and came back. But again, they have their own country now. Again. Totally valid at this point to be talking about Afghanistan. That's the big news of the day. The D.C. bomber, but again, I haven't seen any coverage of the D.C. bomber. I guess it just didn't happen.
Ground. Guys.
Headlines.
Shot in what official?
Oh, that was that? That just a check-in? He doesn't actually talk to anybody here? That's so lame. When they can't find someone to fit their agenda, they do these break-ins, but no one's willing to talk on camera. Because of the deep state and because the military is not allowed to sit at that table anymore. And so we miss it entirely. Oh, here we go. Okay, now that was just a check-in. Here he is talking to some people sitting at a table. Let's find out.
To have breakfast and you're getting an earful.
Yeah, guys, this is a job of their lifetime, and they're giving us the raw, unfiltered truth. I wanted you guys to meet Mackenzie. She is a military spouse. Tell me how you feel about what's going on right now, Mackenzie.
It's disheartening. It's heartbreaking. I'm
It is.
angry. I'm frustrated.
Should be.
But I want to show.
We just wasted 20 years and 2,500 American lives. Or, if we trust Fox, 241,000 American lives.
Show my support for our troops, our soldiers, our Americans that are over in Afghanistan right now. This isn't for nothing. We're here for you. You have all of my support, all of my husband's support. I feel like our nation as a whole, we're here. And I feel like we have to do better.
Nobody is not supporting the military on this.
As Americans, this could have been handled so much differently, so much better.
That's a common thing that we keep hearing, Mackenzie. Thank you so much. Kathy, I want to go to you. Mackenzie said we could have done a better job in this. What say you?
I agree. I think we could have had an exit strategy, which I do not think was in place. But
it was, and the Afghan army completely collapsed, and the government fled.
I think our soldiers over
You know, the people that Trump said had tremendous spirit.
there might be in more danger simply because the Taliban has taken over. And I just wish we can get everyone out, including the interpreters, families, American citizens that are over there, and of course get our soldiers home safely.
No one left behind.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Bob, you're a veteran. You talked about a strategy a lot. What needs to happen to get our people out of there? What should have happened?
Well, what should have happened, well, first of all, I want to emphasize, Lawrence, that the military is extraordinary at planning for contingency operations, planning the best case, the worst case, everything in between. And I'm confident that the military offered up to our civilian leadership all those options. And one situation I'd like to highlight is the fact that we pulled out of Bagram Air Force Base, or air base rather, a very sophisticated air base that gave us intelligence platform capability, and we pulled out of there and left behind all kinds of equipment.
We didn't. We pulled out and we destroyed almost everything. The Afghans walked in there and said, "What are we supposed to do with this? It's just some buildings." No, they took down the Air Force Base. Now, that being said, the Afghan army was given helicopters, etc. But the actual intelligence gatherings, equipment, and whatnot at that Air Force base, that was pulled out and scrapped or sent back to the United States. And that was going on for months.
And I think that was really poorly planned. We should be pulling out from.
We didn't just hand the whole thing over as is. And again, there were articles at the time about the Afghan army saying, this is not an operational airbase. So thanks a lot, America, which was then also very poorly planned, because now you've got a whole bunch of people saying, so we're supposed to fight the Taliban and you guys are not giving us the support that you promised?
That location rather than from Kabul.
And our leaders need to answer for that. Lastly, I want you guys to talk to Lee. Lee, you with American Legions. I used to be American Legions Boy Stater. Y'all provide so much services for our veterans.
You know we do, and right now, especially in these trying times and all the trauma that these soldiers are going through, it's a place where, they can come, they can relax, talk with fellow veterans and that sort of thing. And with Boy State, the focus that we have as a Legion, that we're out there reaching out to our community, doing things with our community. We work closely with the Aviation Brigade here, who works closely in our community. That's what the Legion's all about. And, with this war and this conflict going on, people need that outreach.
Thank you so much, sir. I got Darren here as well. Sorry we didn't get to you, Darren. To our veterans, we thank you so much for your service. We are thinking about you. We're praying for you. It's been a blast being here, guys. I'm going to send it back to you guys in New York.
All right, Lawrence, thank you very much.
Thanks, Lawrence. Great job.
A lot of folks there, a lot of patriots.
Yeah,
there.
tell them all we said hey.
All right, let's head over to Jillian now. She's right over there.
So here's the AP story about, I'll bring it over so you guys can see it too. AP, U.S. left Afghan airfield, that's Bagram Air Force. No, sorry, it's not the Air Force base, just air base. U.S. left Afghan airfield at night. Didn't tell new commander. This is from July 5th, okay? This is more than a month ago. The U.S. left Afghanistan's Bagram airfield after nearly 20 years by shutting off the electricity in the night and slipping away without notifying the base's new Afghan commander, who discovered the Americans' departure more than 2 hours after they left, Afghan military officials said. We heard some rumors that the Americans had left Bagram, and finally, by 7 o'clock in the morning, we understood that it was confirmed that they had already left. General Mira Asala Kostani, Bagram's new commander, said. So he's got the airfield, but the Americans just shut everything off. So yeah, what the guy said of he just handed everything over, it's not working. But yeah, literally, I remember watching articles about there was an Afghan somebody standing by a giant electrical switch and just putting it up and down, showing that the lights were not coming back on. But people don't know. We don't all know everything. And the judges agree, and they know everything. Okay, guys, so we'll be back a little later. Boy, it's 8:48 already here on the Pacific Coast. We will be back a little after 10 a.m., so about an hour and a half-ish. Roughly. It's time for me to start my day, get myself a little more Covfefe, and we'll be back in a little while. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be good to yourself. Be good to me.